Hey, Tony Guys here, popping in with a video. Now, as I've been doing the Q&A on my Instagram stories, it kind of really helps me see what people are going through. And yesterday I answered 100 questions. I also realized that the rule on Instagram is you can only post 100 stories in a 24-hour period. So I was wondering why I answered some questions and I went back and I was looking for the Q&A box and it was gone. And it was because I had went over 100. So when you post another one, it deletes the first one, and then you go to 102, it deletes that next one. And so the question box got deleted, but in there I get to see just everything people are going through. I actually posted it again today because it's so helpful for me seeing hundreds of questions. And even though I can't answer all of them, I actually get like thousands of questions some days. And so I just get to see where people are and just have my finger on the pulse. And here's something that I really want you to understand, because when I look at everything, there's so many signs of love. There's so many things a man can show you to show you that he's in love with you. But as I think about it as a man, being married 14 years and loving my wife and seeing where I struggle at, and just as a male, and then when I think about other men and I look at what other men are going through in their relationships and the questions that I'm getting from women, I really have come down to like two very key areas. And of course, there's others, and there's a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth. But the two biggest areas that I have seen is number one, and I feel like this is the biggest, is how he talks to you. This is the biggest to me. And I'll explain why it's the biggest when I share number two. But how he talks to you, this means so much, because as men, I've read that studies show that we lack the cognitive skills that women possess. Essentially, meaning that the part of the brain that processes thoughts, that allows us to articulate ourselves, is larger in a woman's brain, or more developed in a woman's brain than in a man's brain. Now, when you look in real life, you kind of see where this is true, because most people will say men don't communicate well, men don't express ourselves well. And some people will say, well, that is because of society telling men not to communicate and big boys don't cry. But before that is actually taught, you will notice that little girls at 2 years old talk way better than the average boy at 2 years old. Same at 3, 4, 5. My youngest son is 7 years old. We have my wife's best friend, daughter is 3 or 4. I can't remember. She just had a birthday. And she talks as well, if not better, than my 7 year old son. And my 7 year old son is actually articulate for a boy and very smart, straight A's in his second grade class. Yes, they get A's at his school. And he's right now doing regrouping in math. And when he said, Dad, we're doing regrouping in math, I didn't know what regrouping was. And then when he showed me, oh, carrying the one, I didn't know it was called regrouping. And in the second grade. So he is smart. And he's answering these big math problems like 898 plus 169. And he can look at it and answer it without drawing out the work. So it lets me know he's very smart. He's very articulate. He uses big words. And here it is, this young lady who is 4 years old speaks just as well as he does. So it shows me where, as men, we can kind of be direct. We are very direct from A to B. Like when we are communicating, you'll notice if you communicate with a man that a lot of times men can hurt your feelings. We can hurt your feelings with our bluntness from just, and we can cut with our words. because it's just very direct. It's straight to the point. And a lot of times we don't take into consideration how it'll make a woman feel, how she will receive it. And we may, as men, mean it with good intention, but it comes off rude, condescending, crass. And so when a man falls in love, we go to another level of emotionality and we start to think about, and I don't know if that's a word, but we'll use it right there. It sounds good. And we go to this space of really trying to seek to understand, to where now we're saying, let me say this in my mind. Let me take in consideration her history, her biography, her personality, and let me put on her ears and let me hear this sentence, this phrase, this conversation, this topic through her ears, considering her history and her biography to guess how she may receive this. And we look at our history with this woman and how she has received other things we've said. And we recall the things we've said with good intention that landed terribly and offended her and hurt her feelings when we had no intention to. And so we take in consideration her pain, her trauma, her past, all of the things that put her in this place, which may be considered a disposition to where she may be overly sensitive to certain conversations. A conversation about food and how it affects the body and how weight gain happens from this particular food item. If she struggles with her weight, then you start to think, let me not talk about that. Let me not use this terminology because this may trigger her or strike a chord, the wrong type of chord. And so you go into this space to where you're very mindful about what you're saying and how it can affect her. And you find words to where you can express yourself, but she knows that it's coming from love. Or you become creative in how you address a situation. And let's say a woman is struggling in her body with her weight or with her motivation. Instead of a man who is not in love with her will say, you need to lose some weight. You need to lose some weight. Like you like, how do you expect me to be faithful and you're just letting yourself go? And as I'm walking by all these women whose body is just so amazing, and then here you are every night scarfing down Oreos. A man who is not in love will say something like that. Women watching this video have heard something very similar, if not worse, from a man who does not really love them, who is not in love with her. So he doesn't care how she feels. And he really wants to hurt her feelings and make her feel insecure and make her compete with other women for his love. He's not in love. And that's why he attacks her verbally and he puts her down. He's condescending. He's rude. He's nasty. He gives rude jokes. And then when she gets hurt and upset, he said, oh, I'm just joking. You're so sensitive. Stop being so sensitive. It's just a joke. And I had to learn that even with my own wife. I had to learn like, okay, some things are not a joke. And regardless of how she jokes, I have to be mindful of her feelings and her position on certain areas of life, whatever it may be, where that's attached to insecurities. And I have to, instead of joking about certain things or talking about certain things, I have to speak life, speak love, and encourage and help build her self-esteem in those areas, whatever it may be, whether it's intelligence or book smarts or street smarts or business smarts or body image or weight, skin, whatever it is, hair, speaking, compliments, love, light, life, encouragement, to where I can see her confidence growing because the man she loves every inch of her. And so when a man learns and is mindful about how he speaks to a woman, and he makes sure that the things he says isn't rude or condescending or insensitive, that man is in love. He is in love with this woman because he cares about her mental and emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. So think about that. Now, the other big one, which kind of goes without saying, but it still needs to be said, is when a man is in love, he is faithful. And when I say faithful, I mean he doesn't cheat on the woman with pornography, with masturbation, with emotional cheating, with social cheating, which would be liking pictures of other women on social media, or with physical cheating. He is faithful across the board, and he has options. See, every man has options because some men are not wanted by other women other than the woman that he is with. But he still can cheat because he can pay for it. He can get into pornography. He can go into masturbation. And yes, those things are a form of cheating. Pornography and masturbation are a form of cheating because the man is lusting in his heart after another woman's body that is not his woman's body. And that creates a mindset of comparison. So when he's looking at this woman's body, he's saying, oh, my girlfriend or my wife doesn't have breasts like that, or a butt like that, or thighs like that, or hair color like that, or eye color like that, or skin complexion like that, or skin texture like that. And so this is better than my woman. Let me indulge in the fantasy of being with this woman. That is cheating. A lot of people try to dumb it down and say, no, that's not cheating. Some women try to say, well, I like watching it too. I like masturbating too. I like those things too. That means both of you are nasty. It does not mean that you're not cheating. It's just both of you are perverted. So understand that you're perverted together. Does not mean what he's doing is okay and that is right. And what you have to realize is the same stimuli for a man creates a different reaction in the male mind and in the male life, in the male experience, than it does in the female mind and the female life and the female experience. So a male and a female can indulge in the same activity and have a completely different experience and completely different results. So where women say, well, I like to do this too, it does not matter if you like to do it as a woman, if that man doing it will eventually destroy him. Because women have a different makeup mentally and emotionally than men. And so we have to understand that. So when a man falls in love, he will be faithful across the board. He will not like another woman's picture on Instagram or Facebook because he wants his woman to be and to feel like the only woman in the world. He wants to make sure the world is her oyster because he loves her. And although he may see that this woman on Instagram or social media, whatever network, is beautiful, is absolutely gorgeous, he will not indulge in liking her picture or commenting on her picture because he knows that as his woman is a human, that could offend her, that could hurt her, and it could make her compare herself to this other woman. And although he loves his woman and would not take this woman over his woman, he understands just the act of liking her picture could send his woman into a negative space of comparison, and it can lower her self-esteem. And he cares about his responsibility in her life. Although she is responsible for her own happiness, her own mental health, he does not want to add to it in a negative way or to create barriers or potholes or what have anything that can be a hindrance to her mental health, to her positive self-esteem, and her growth as a human. So he wants to encourage her self-esteem, her personal development by not being a distraction or a hindrance, by cheating on her socially, emotionally, spiritually, or physically with other women. And so this is when a man is in love. And the reason why I said the way a man talks to a woman is actually more important than a man being faithful. It speaks to a man being in love more than a man being faithful, is because some men won't cheat for other reasons. So just because a man is faithful to a woman doesn't mean he's in love. Because some men won't cheat because of the size of their, and this woman has accepted his, and he doesn't want to go through the humiliation of having other women have to look at it and question, whoa, okay, oh, interesting. Nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. And so that is traumatizing. And that also makes him angry and upset and insecure, which may make him lash out at his woman verbally because of his own shortcomings. And some men will not cheat because of something else is not acceptable in society about their body. Some men won't cheat because of social anxiety, and they worked up the courage to get the woman they have, but they can't do that again and again and again. Some men won't cheat because they don't have any options, because in this season, their look, their size, their height, their hairline is not in style, and it is not being praised by other women. So no woman wants them other than the woman he is with and his mother's love for him. So therefore, he is optionless when it comes to physical cheating or emotional cheating. And that keeps him faithful, but it can also anger him that he takes out his anger on his woman verbally. So this is why I said the way a man talks to a woman is actually a greater indication of him being in love than him being faithful. Because there's several reasons why a man may be faithful. A man could have erectile dysfunction, which takes a lot of preparation and all kind of dieting and all kind of stuff to get that thing up. So that could be very humiliating to go cheat on his woman and then he can't get it up. And so that's another reason a man may be faithful to his woman. So understand this, but when it comes to verbal communication, there's nothing that will bridle a man's tongue other than his love and respect for this woman. There's no, a man could be in a wheelchair, a man could be paraplegic, a man could have a stroke, a man could have a disease, a man could be on his deathbed, a man could be in any state of his life and still verbally lash out at his woman because of his anger, his disposition, his happenstance, his life outcome. He can take that out verbally on his woman, even from a wheelchair, where she could grab the back of the chair and flip him over onto the ground and he cannot get up. There are some men in wheelchair who curse their woman out, talk to her like a stray animal with rabies because of where he is in his mind. So that actually takes more from a man to be respectful, because one thing that always works is his mouth, his tongue. and unless he cannot speak. But other than that, just we talking normal situations here. That says a whole lot. And then faithfulness is right there with it. But like I said, there's reasons men may be faithful and still not be in love. So, hey, I want you to evaluate your relationship, look at this, and see if you have these two things from your man. And if you do, then I would venture to say he is in love with you. He is in love with you because if he's faithful to you across the board and he talks to you with respect, then what really else is there for him to do that says he's not in love? Now, yes, you can pull something like, oh, well, he puts his mom before me, or, he talks to his sister more than me, things of that nature. But even with that, those things will be eliminated when a man learns how to talk to his woman, because if he can learn how to talk to his woman, it means he's thinking about her mental and emotional state. So he's not going to be prone to create other incidents and distractions or actions, commit other actions that will put her in the wrong state of mind or spirit. So, hey, this is Tony Gaskins. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk soon.